My work focuses upon understanding what are the plausible worst case scenarios, what's the big global extreme risks we face, just how bad could climate change get? Could it in the long term lead to either a global societal collapse or even human extinction? Through to the sheer potential for climate change to trigger knock-on effects, such as conflict, disease, new pandemics, and potentially even other calamities, such as nuclear war. We know these questions are neglected. They're neglected not only in climate science, but also when it comes to finance and risk assessment and modeling. We know that when you use models such as integrated assessment models, the most commonly used way of trying to calculate climate damages, they are highly sensitive to a few simple assumptions. And just incorporating things like tipping points, for instance, can increase your damages by up to 8-fold. And simply looking at higher range warming scenarios could potentially increase the projected social cost of carbon by an order of magnitude. These models are missing so much in terms of the risk cascades and the knock-on effects, the systemic risk of climate change, that we are almost certainly underestimating climate change, potentially many orders of magnitude. What we need to do is to have more realistic risk assessment. We need to think about the worst case scenarios, think about the extreme risks, and fold these into our risk assessments to ensure not only we are pricing things effectively, that we are de-risking our portfolios in the best way possible, but also to ensure that we can actually prevent these catastrophes from unfolding. Private investors have many reasons to take extreme risks seriously. First of all, you could potentially profit from this. There's an avoidance of both future legal and regulatory risk. If you look at, for instance, climate change, there's numerous different litigation suits coming forward. For instance, the agenda case in the Netherlands. There's also potential for new regulations to, of course, potentially lead to stranded assets and burst the carbon bubble. If you want to avoid these risks, you should be taking into account climate risks into your portfolio. Importantly, there's no strong evidence in this case that divesting your portfolio and reinvesting into more responsible assets is going to lead to even a short-term loss of profit. Right now the evidence is mixed, but it usually tends towards you can do this without having any financial hit. So why not take an ethical choice, which also leads to profits? Why not divest from extreme global risks? And this doesn't just mean climate change, it also means things like nuclear weapons, lethal autonomous weapons, all the different risks that we have to our long-term prosperity.